Hey songwriters, now there is one songwriter who has written more global pop hits than anyone else alive. Songs for Taylor Swift, Katy Perry, Britney Spears, The Weeknd, and dozens more. And if you analyse these songs carefully, you start to notice something. They're not random. They follow a surprisingly consistent structure. It is repeatable not only for Max Martin, but for us as songwriters. So today I'm going to share with you the 3 songwriting techniques that Max Martin uses again and again so that you can implement them into your craft. Hey, Danny here, founder of Songwriters International. If you're new to the channel, please consider dropping a subscribe. We help songwriters develop their skill set and take their songs from good to great and write their best possible songs. Okay, so let's jump on into technique 1, the pre-chorus launchpad. Now I want to share with you 10 famous songs that Max Martin has written. Now aside from being written by Max Martin himself, what do all of these songs that you can see have in common? Every single one of them uses a pre-chorus. Now let's just break down the structure of the pre-chorus in a standard pop structured song. We go first with a verse and then we introduce that pre-chorus. The pre-chorus is the gap between the verse and the chorus. After the pre-chorus, then we go ahead and give the hook, which is the chorus, and then we basically just repeat that same structure, but verse 2, pre-chorus and chorus again. Now each part of the song fundamentally has a role to play to keep the listener there for a sustained period of time. So first of all, the verse is the starting point of our song. It's going to tell the story, it's going to set the scene, it's going to introduce the listener to any characters within this song. Now the pre-chorus has a specific role that Max Martin uses very, very well, and it's to build that musical and melodic tension. And then simply the chorus is designed to then release that tension that you've just built up in that pre-chorus. I want you to see it like this, that the pre-chorus is the runway and the chorus is the takeoff. That's why the pre-chorus oftentimes will raise the melody a little bit from the verse, it will increase emotional urgency, it'll even change the chord progression and the tension that you have within it, and it will often shorten lyrical phrases. All creates anticipation so that when the chorus arrives, it feels bigger, feels more impactful, and it feels like an explosion of something. So if you feel like sometimes your songs are not landing, your chorus is not hitting in the way that you want to, it's oftentimes not a problem with the chorus, it's the lead up to the chorus that you have the problem with, which is the verse, but in this case, the pre-chorus. Now if you're watching this and you're saying, I want to write hits like Max Martin, one of the things I do is help songwriters analyze and improve their own songs. So if you'd like feedback on your music or developing stronger structures like this into your own songwriting craft, you can book a call with me personally in the description below or in the comment section. We'll take a look at your songs, we'll take a look at what you're up to and what you're doing right now, and how can we make your craft stronger and get you to the goals that you've set for your songwriting. Alright, let's move on into technique number 2, and this is the chorus is the religion. In the Swedish pop writing system that Max Martin comes from, there's a very strong philosophy. The chorus is absolutely everything. Now a lot of songwriters typically treat each section of a song equally, and that's the biggest mistake you can make. Because in hit songwriting there's a list of importance, and it looks a little something like this. The chorus is the top list of the priority. Then we go into a pre-chorus, then we have a verse, and then we have a bridge. And the reason for this is the chorus is the emotional payoff. It's the hook that listeners remember, it's the moment that people sing live. But also more importantly, it's the thing that the listener, after the first listen of your song, is going to remember. They're not necessarily going to remember that verse and that lyric specifically that you wrote. They're not going to remember that melodic hook at the beginning of the song. And more importantly, after the first listen of a song, it's the one thing that the listener goes away and is able to hook on to straight away. They don't fully remember that verse lyric or that bridge transition that you had, but they remember that hook, that catchiness, that sing-along moment that you had and you built in the chorus, which then brings them back and then has them listen again and understand the story deeper. Now a lot of the time, professional songwriters, including Max Martin, will start with the chorus first, because they understand what is that one part of the song that everybody's going to remember more than anything else, and it's the chorus. And once that's strong, they'll build out from there. The verse is designed just to create a little bit of context. Pre-chorus is building their anticipation to something. Bridges in a song are often there just to refresh the ear, give the listener an escape for a moment, and then you hit them again with the chorus. Think about that great song by Kelly Clarkson, Since You've Been Gone. If we're being truthfully honest, nobody really remembers the verse. But what everybody remembers and what everybody can sing right now is that explosive chorus, where it's, since you've been gone, yeah, yeah. And that wasn't written by accident. That was deliberately written by design to feel that way, and also to have the impact that it went on to have. A powerful rule that I teach to a lot of songwriters: don't finish songs, perfect the chorus. And if the chorus doesn't feel like that moment that draws listeners in, that feels catchy, melodically engaging, then whatever else you have going on the song is never going to be able to carry the song forwards without that center anchor point of a track. Part 3 is the stab hook technique. Now, I was listening to some very well-known songs by Max Martin. Those songs were Shake It Off by Taylor Swift, Katy Perry's song Raw, and also Justin Timberlake's song Can't Stop the Feeling. Now, this is incredibly simple but super effective. This is where the key lyric becomes rhythmic repetition. Instead of singing a phrase once or a word once, the lyric almost becomes percussive with the melody that is sung. So if we first look at this song Raw by Katy Perry, and on that post-chorus, what Max Martin does is simply take the word raw, and then he stabs it, and he does raw, raw, and then he continues that on for another 2 lines. He's taken one phrase, but now he's stabbing it and giving it to listener again and again. If we look at that song by Justin Timberlake, Can't Stop the Feeling, again, it's the same technique. He takes the word dance, and then he does nothing I can do when you dance, 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 dun, da, 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 when you dance, dance, dance. Again, taking a phrase, just like the word raw, in this case it's dance, stabbing it, and repeating it more than just once. And then finally into that song by Taylor Swift, which is Shake It Off. Now, it's a little bit different here because he has multiple different words, but the stabbing techniques remains the same. So here what he has is heartbreak is gonna break, 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 and the fake is gonna pay, hey, 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 hey. Now the word changes, it has break, it has hate, but the phrasing of how it is sung is the same. It's stabbed. Break, 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 hate, hate, hate. And our brains naturally remember rhythm before meaning. And as soon as that melody and that lyric becomes rhythmic repetition, it becomes rememberable. And when you listen to those songs, in particular those moments, they feel like something that we can chant, something that we can shout, something that we can sing, but more importantly, something that we can hook onto very, very quickly and very, very easily. So that's why you'll find that these songs, and also other songs that Max Martin writes, are so rememberable. It's because he's using simple techniques, but they're incredibly impactful. So when you're writing your chorus, perhaps look for a core word, whether that's dance, whether that's raw, whether that's maybe using a couple of words, but stab them, repeat them, and just sing along with them. And by using this, you can just take what you've already written and discover a new hook and perhaps give it the listener again in a post-chorus. Max Martin is one of the greatest songwriters to ever have written songs. So if we can take some of the skills that he's using on a day-by-day basis to write some of the greatest songs, then it's naturally going to improve our songwriting. Now, if you want to understand how we can take those techniques and how we can put it into a specific process from start to finish, whether you're a beginner writer, whether you're an advanced songwriter, then I've put together a video which is how I write a song, specifically from start to finish. As I've mentioned, whether you've just started or you're further along, somewhere around here you'll be able to click that video, head on over to there, watch that, and let me share with you how I take techniques and put them into a framework. Also, if you want to book a one-to-one call with me, as I've mentioned, to get that feedback or dive deeper into songwriting structures, then you can book a call in the description below or in the comments section. I'd absolutely love to talk with you and have a look at your songwriting. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing, and I'll see you over on this video somewhere around here.